Ego is the enemy, giving us wicked feedback disconnected from reality. It's defensive, precisely when we cannot afford to be defensive. It blocks us from improving by telling us that we don't need to improve. Ryan Holiday. Ego is the Enemy, written by Ryan Holiday, is a powerful and thought-provoking book that explores the destructive nature of ego and how it can hinder personal and professional growth. Through a blend of historical anecdotes, philosophical insights, and practical advice, Holiday presents a compelling argument for why keeping our ego in check is essential for success and fulfillment. The book is divided into 3 parts: Aspire, Success, and Failure, each representing different stages in our lives and careers. Holiday emphasizes that ego is not just about arrogance or pride, but it is a much broader concept that encompasses our sense of self-importance, our desire for recognition, and our need to be seen as better than others. He argues that ego is the enemy of ambition, growth, and genuine happiness. Part 1. Aspire. In the first part, Aspire, Holiday discusses the role of ego in our aspirations and dreams. When we aspire to achieve something great, it is easy for ego to creep in and cloud our judgment. We start to believe that we deserve success simply because we want it, rather than because we have worked hard for it. One of the key lessons in this section is the importance of humility. Holiday uses the example of General William Tecumseh Sherman, a Civil War general who declined to run for president despite being highly regarded. Sherman understood that the ambition to achieve the highest office in the land was driven more by ego than by a genuine desire to serve. By stepping back and refusing to let his ego dictate his actions, Sherman avoided the pitfalls that often come with unchecked ambition. Holiday also highlights the danger of overestimating our abilities. He tells the story of John DeLorean, a brilliant automotive engineer who left General Motors to start his own company. DeLorean's ego led him to believe that he could single-handedly revolutionize the car industry. However, his lack of humility and unwillingness to listen to others ultimately led to the failure of his company. This story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of letting ego drive our aspirations. Part 2. Success. The second part of the book, Success, explores how ego can derail us when we achieve our goals. Success can be intoxicating, and it is often at this point that ego becomes most dangerous. When we start to believe our own hype and think that we are invincible, we stop learning, stop growing, and become complacent. Holiday uses the example of Howard Hughes, the famous aviator and filmmaker, to illustrate this point. Hughes was incredibly successful at a young age, but his ego led him to make increasingly reckless decisions. He surrounded himself with yes-men who never challenged his ideas, and his once promising career spiraled into madness and isolation. Hughes's story is a stark reminder that success can be fleeting if we allow ego to take control. Another important lesson in this section is the importance of maintaining a beginner's mindset. Holiday draws on the teachings of Stoic philosophers like Epictetus, who advise that we should always remain humble and continue to learn no matter how successful we become. By staying grounded and remembering that there is always more to learn, we can avoid the trap of letting success go to our heads. Holiday also discusses the role of discipline in keeping ego in check. He tells the story of Katharine Graham, the publisher of the Washington Post, who faced immense challenges when taking over the family business. Despite her initial lack of confidence, Graham remained disciplined, focused on her work, and refused to let her ego dictate her decisions. Her commitment to her craft and her ability to keep her ego in check ultimately led to the success of the Washington Post as a respected newspaper. Before we proceed to the third part of Holiday's book, please don't forget to click the like and subscribe button if you've enjoyed this summary so far. If you're considering grabbing a copy for yourself, click the link in the description for more info. Part 3. Failure. In the final part of the book, failure, Holiday explores how ego can exacerbate our failures and make it difficult to recover. When we experience failure, it is easy for ego to convince us that the world is against us or that we are the victims of circumstances beyond our control. This mindset can prevent us from taking responsibility for our actions and learning from our mistakes. Holiday shares the story of Richard Nixon, whose ego led to one of the most infamous failures in American history, the Watergate scandal. Nixon's paranoia and belief that he was above the law led him to make unethical decisions that ultimately resulted in his downfall. Instead of admitting his mistakes and seeking forgiveness, Nixon's ego drove him to cover up his actions, which only made the situation worse. The author emphasizes the importance of resilience and the ability to bounce back from failure. He argues that failure is an inevitable part of life, but it is how we respond to it that matters. By acknowledging our mistakes, learning from them, and moving forward with humility, we can overcome even the most significant setbacks. Holiday also discusses the importance of self-awareness in dealing with failure. He tells the story of Genghis Khan, who, despite his incredible success as a conqueror, was deeply aware of his own limitations and the role of luck in his victories. This self-awareness allowed Khan to remain grounded and avoid the pitfalls of ego that often accompany great success. Practical applications and takeaways. Throughout Ego is the Enemy, Holiday offers practical advice for keeping ego in check at every stage of life. One of the key takeaways is the importance of continuous learning and self-improvement. Whether we are just starting in our careers, at the peak of success, or dealing with failure, there is always room for growth and development. By staying humble and open to new ideas, we can avoid the complacency that often accompanies ego. Another important lesson is the value of surrounding ourselves with people who challenge us and keep us grounded. Holiday emphasizes the importance of mentorship and the role that others can play in keeping our ego in check. By seeking out honest feedback and being open to criticism, we can ensure that we stay on the right path and avoid the pitfalls of ego. Holiday also encourages readers to focus on the work itself, rather than the recognition or rewards that come with it. He argues that when we are driven by ego, we are more concerned with how we are perceived by others than with the quality of our work. By shifting our focus away from external validation and towards the process of doing good work, we can achieve greater satisfaction and success in the long run. Conclusion: Ego is the Enemy serves as a reminder that humility, discipline, and self-awareness are essential for achieving lasting success and fulfillment. By staying grounded, continuously learning, and focusing on the work itself, we can overcome the destructive influence of ego and lead more meaningful and successful lives. Holiday's message is clear: ego is not our friend. It is a force that can blind us to reality, distort our judgment, and ultimately lead to our downfall. But by recognizing the enemy within and taking steps to keep it in check, we can achieve true greatness, not just in our careers, but in all aspects of our lives. Please stick around for our next beneficial book summary, So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport. See you soon, my friends.